Hello, good afternoon, good evening, good night from wherever you are. This is the Yorkshire Football Podcast. I'm Dom, and as ever, I'm joined by some fans of Yorkshire's finest. We've got, for representing Sheffield Wednesday, John Riley. All right, John?
Yeah, Dom, you right, Paul?
Representing Bradford City, we've got Mike Holinsky.
How are you doing, Dom? You all right?
And representing Leeds United, it is Adam. All right, Ads.
Hanging in there, mate. Hanging in there.
Good stuff, mate. You might have noticed that there was a little pause when I was saying that. I almost abused you and then remembered these are difficult times and I don't want to make it any worse for you. So, yeah, we are taking government advice and we're all working from home. So this Yorkshire podcast is coming to you via the internet. John in Sheffield, Mike in Bradford, and Adam in Leeds, and me in Otley, which is also in Yorkshire. So we are all still in Yorkshire, and we're doing our best under the current circumstances. Hopefully you're staying home and staying safe and taking the government advice, just like we are. Lads, what are you doing in this isolation period? How are you keeping yourself sane?
Well, it's certainly not watching football, unfortunately, and I think we'll come on to it in a bit, but I think we do need something back, don't we, just to keep us going. But it's really, to be honest, so far I'm coping all right, just cracking on my work, and then in the evenings doing some workouts and stuff. And yeah, it's not too bad. I think in a couple of weeks the novelty will definitely will wear off, won't it? But yeah, I could just do with something to watch other than Sons of Anarchy on Netflix, which is good, but yeah.
Oh, I need to make a note of that.
Yeah, Sons of Anarchy, good. I'd recommend it. But yeah, I would kill for a Marcelo Bielsa Leeds United performance live on TV now. I would like to watch that again.
What about you, Mike? How are you getting on?
Staying positive, mate. That's what I'm doing. And that's what we're going to do on this podcast. We're going to be positive throughout. This world needs a bit of positivity at the moment. But yeah, just a lot of Netflix, a lot of social media. But I'm actually trying a few new things as well with my spare time. So I'm currently teaching myself Italian. So tonight, actually, before I came on here, I can count to 10 now. Buzzing with that. And I started a bit of baking as well, trying a few new things. And I cooked flapjack at the weekend for the first time in my life. Went down pretty well. So yeah, just trying new things. And apart from that, yeah, just keeping positive and exercising, work, etc. But yeah, trying to just keep busy and forgetting that we're stuck in at home.
And John, how's Sheffield?
Yeah, do you know what the worst thing about it is? We had like an absolute heat wave last week in Sheffield. So kind of sat in the house in the garden. It must have been at least 12 degrees outside. We were loving it. It's like barbecues going off. Honestly, it was great. Like Sheffield in sunshine. It's just it's a wonder to behold. No, yeah, like it. Go on, mate.
Sorry, mate. I thought you'd finish. This is the problem with the old internet. But I hate to cut you off, but I need to hear Mike count from 1 to 10 in Italian.
Are you ready? I'm going to mess this up now. I know I am. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Get in! Boom.
Very Bradford Italian. I think I've been to an Italian restaurant in Bradford where they spoke exactly like
that. Mamma mia.
Yeah, I can't wait
for it. Let's not get racist.
Look, when he goes down Mario's, I say, "Can I have Dewey garlic bread, please, love?" Absolutely loving, weren't they?
It's not been the easiest of times, has it, lads? There's no football. I mean, there's nothing. Yorkshire has got, all of these beautiful landmarks that we can't go out and see. I mean, all I've seen is the inside of my home and Sainsbury's.
Yeah, we get to have some nice conversations with like your missus and kids and that. Like, first time I feel like we had a conversation with our lass in years. Like, I only just found out that she'd been sacked from Woolworths. So, like, I would never have known that if it weren't been for this social isolation. So, yeah, I'm all for it.
Oh, so the marriage is holding up strong, John, despite the fact you've got to spend time with each other.
Yeah, to be honest, it's probably stronger than ever. She's, I think she's realising just what a lucky lass she is, to be fair.
So, what about football returning then? What do we think should happen? Obviously, we're missing it, even though it's actually not been that long. I think 2 weeks ago I was at Cheltenham and it feels like it could easily have been 6 months ago. But football feels like it's been off for ages. We're missing it. Of course, in the Premier League, let's start with Sheffield United. They're desperate for the return of football because they were having one of the best seasons in the club's history, and it's teetering on the edge of being chalked off the board.
Yeah, I think for me, we need football back once it's safe to do so, and I'm really pleased to hear this Premier League proposal that's come through around staging matches behind closed doors once it's safe to do so, and having almost like a festival of football throughout June and July, just non-stop games to get the season done. I think that would be exactly what we need to lift our spirits, but obviously it can only be done when it's safe to do so. But
the league ladder needs to get involved, though, don't they? Sorry to interrupt you, Ads, there. But what does it mean for the rest of the Football League? Because the Premier League, that's fine. They can get that all sorted, but it ripples right down through the leagues.
Well, hopefully it means that the rest of the leagues have to follow suit, because if the Premier League finishes, then surely the rest do. If the Premier League do go ahead with this Midlands idea of getting all the games done, then what, do we invite all the Championship teams to Yorkshire, or do the League One teams go to Lancashire? Or I've no idea how it works, but you would think that if the Premier League finishes, the rest have no excuse to sort of follow suit, really. But that's all to be worked out. I just know that the season has to be finished, no matter what time. Even if it takes 12 months, the season has to be finished, because there's so much money, time, effort, emotion that's gone into this season. There was £1.5 billion worth of transfer fees in the Premier League just to sort out this season. Imagine if all that money just, at the end of it, just didn't mean anything. All the fans that have gone to those games, those way over. It's not like we've played 2 or 3 games in the season and we can just sort of pause it there. Like competitions like the NFL that start again in September, they're on about, if it carries on really bad in America, just writing that off. Or even the competitions with playoffs in America, they're on about just writing that off. And I think that's fine, because the playoffs is the crunch of the season. The whole point of our season is it's a test from start to finish, and we've got 9 games left in the Championship. There's so much money, so much time, so much effort gone in, and I think no matter how long it takes, it needs extending. And people seem to forget that the season, it doesn't have to. The only reason it has to finish at the end of May is because it always finishes at that point. That's what time football says. This is when the season ends. I don't see why that can't just be extended indefinitely, and contracts and stuff can get sorted from there. I think it's just a line football drew initially. It can just be moved.
But that's the thing, isn't it? There's a lot of people, specifically fans, anti-Liverpool or anti-Leeds, who are saying, we just like the season off, chalk it off, start again. But you can't do that, can you? In any other business, you can't just spend hundreds of millions of pounds and say, oh, you know what, there's a disease going around, we're going to have to cancel it, we'll have to wipe off whatever we've spent. That's just not an acceptable thing to do, Mike.
Exactly. Riley, sorry mate, Riley mentioned Woolworths. Imagine all the other companies that are going to go bust at this point if they just said, "Oh no, don't worry about it. You can come back. We'll just write off what's happened in 6 months." Doesn't happen in the business world. It shouldn't happen in the football world. Now I'll let someone else speak.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. That's finally. I think where my head is with it is, firstly, we need football back as quickly as possible. If that's behind closed doors, and obviously when it's safe to do so, but just for a bit of positivity, the nation want it, and just to save relationships, because my relationship's nearly on its arse now because I've got no football. But on a serious note, I sort of agree and disagree with Ads on a couple of points, and Ad sort of knows my view on this. Is I totally think the season needs to be finished. I really do, but where I sort of disagree with Ads is, I was saying, if we get to October, November, and let's say things haven't improved and we still have seen no football at all, then for me there's a bit of a question mark where some hard decisions will have to be made, and whether that is the season does become null and void. And the reason I say that is because the bigger picture is, if we get to October, November, and that's when the season restarts, by the end you're looking December time, then the players need time off for a pre-season, and then the season starts again, etc. We're forgetting how much sport's been moved to the summer next year already. So you look at the Euros, so they'd have to cram in a full season. Whether they drop cup competition, that's another argument. But then there's an argument there to say a lot of League One, League Two teams lose out on a lot of revenue because of cup competitions, for example. So there's that argument straight away. It'll have to finish before a certain point because of the Euros, because then they have to get the season back on track because of the other bigger stuff around, like the World Cup and stuff. So for me, like, if we just say, like I'd said, in 12 months' time, if we have to finish it in 12 months' time, we finish it. But then at what point do we just say, well, we write a total season off? Because there's going to be a knock-on effect continuously until the EFL or Premier League make some sort of hard decision.
Well,
Yeah,
I
so
often think about it and think, I'm glad that it's not me having to make that decision, because when I start thinking about it, I can't even fathom how they're going to do it. But after the war, so obviously during the war, football was pretty much stopped. And then I think in the 1946 season, the Football League didn't even happen. They just played cup competitions, and they extended the FA Cup so that every round was 2 legs.
Okay.
So, that's a way of doing it. So you might just write off next season. So you finish this season whenever you need to. So even if it's towards the end of this year, you get this season finished, no matter what. So you'll finish the season. Then you'll finish all the cup competitions, one after the other. So football does continue. It means that bookmakers can still make money, because no matter what you think of bookmakers, there are people that work for them. So they still need to make money. These people still need to earn livings. Sponsors still get their deals. So you run football all the way through, but just back to back. Instead of running cup competitions in tandem with the season, you play them after the season. So if, for instance, the season starts in November, finishes mid-December, then you start the last rounds of the FA Cup. And then what you might do is, in between the end of the FA Cup and the new season, play an entire League Cup campaign. So then the following season doesn't have a League Cup campaign, but you have a full Football League season and an FA Cup. Oh my God, I think I just cracked it.
Are you admitting that the League Cup is is a bit of a fourth priority, and therefore Bradford's achievement of getting to the final in it is
No. I don't think that the League Cup is as high priority as the League or the FA Cup. And I think that then you've got to think about the Champions League there as well. I still think the League Cup is a massively important trophy for Football League teams. I think it's got a place, it makes clubs money, and magic can still happen in that. But it does come third as far as domestic football is concerned. Definitely.
Yeah, agreed.
So I think that's the way you do it. I think you finish this season whenever, finish the cups after that, write off an entire football season next year, let the Euros happen, let the Olympics happen next year, and then just start again afresh. So then there's no knock-on effect into next season where the season's delayed or anything like that. But you can still, you could even start a whole new tournament. You could say, look, we're not going to have a Premier League season, but we'll do a football tournament that's going to last 3 months where each team plays each other once or something like that. It's just like a intermediary season. What do you reckon, Riley?
To be honest, I've got no kind of massive opinion. I want to see kind of where we get to regarding kind of the economy and the nation first before football. I think kind of the health of the population is far more important than football. That's probably coming from a Wednesday fan whose season was over weeks ago, so I've got no real interest in it. I'd be quite happy to take a null and void this season if that meant Leeds not getting promoted, Liverpool not winning the league, and Sheffield United not getting in the Champions League. To be honest, if it meant we kind of had to reevaluate next season and had to kind of finish this one off, I'm not sure. Having the Euros in there is a bit of a tricky one for domestic competitions. Because what we could have done is kind of extended next season out over the summer. But obviously now it's an international tournament that's kind of kiboshing that idea. I just kind of worry for a lot of those clubs at the moment, not the ones at the top, not your kind of Newcastles and Spurs who are even furloughing kind of employees at the moment. It's your ones in League Two, your National League, even and lower, who kind of might not survive this at the moment, and they're kind of lifeblood of the game. And I just hope that these kind of clubs come out of it, can manage to kind of get their seasons up and running next season or season after, and the money that's abundant in the Premier League does make its way down at this time. And that just hopefully we get an outcome that's kind of not everyone's going to be happy with the outcome. For example, if we do play the rest of the season, Liverpool's will be happy, Leeds will be happy, but you might have fans of other clubs that are really unhappy that we're kind of carrying on. It's disrupting them. So just hope that the majority are happy with whatever decision the FA and Premier League come up with.
Right, okay then, lads. It's time for a new feature for the Yorkshire Football Podcast. It's Yorkshire Football Flashbacks. So we picked some of our own big names, the big games, the names. One sip of Tim Taylor's, lads, and I'm gone. We got some of the biggest games in Yorkshire. So Steel City derbies, Leeds Bradford derbies, Huddersfield, whoever they have derbies with. And we put them into a hat and we picked one out. And the winner this week, which wasn't picked by me and Mike, it was picked out by Mr. Adam Etherington. It is Leeds against Bradford in the League Cup back in the 2014-15 season. Oh, heady days.
What
Really
an
bad
absolute
days.
classic.
Really bad days. These were the days of Dave Hockaday just been appointed Leeds United manager about 5 games into his spell at this point. 1 win under his belt against Middlesbrough, but the club was in absolute turmoil. Massimo Cellino, with his ownership, by far, definitely not the worst owner we've had. We've had worse owners in JFH and Kenneth Bates, but also by far quite a way away from the ideal owner, let's say.
Typical of Adam to make a historic Bradford City victory all about Leeds United and the dodgy owners. Let's delve straight in then, shall we? Let's have a look at some of the squads. Let's start with Bradford. Obviously, they were the home team. The game was played at Valley Parade back in August of 2014. Mike, you'll remember it well.
Yeah, I'll say owned up before we started, but I wasn't at the game. I was over in France eating a bit of jambon, fromage, le beer, drinking a bit of le beer.
Back to me then. Back to me. In net for Bradford City. Bear in mind, this squad actually went on to beat Chelsea in the FA Cup, and it was pretty much the same side. So Leeds, they were worthy losers on the day. Ben Williams, he was in net, great goalkeeper. Stephen Darby, legendary Stephen Darby at right back. Then James Meredith at left back. Long rumoured to have been joining Leeds, but he ended up going to Millwall, where it didn't quite work out. I think he's playing in Australia now. Ooh, they had a bit of an issue. Alan Sheehan, not the best penalty taker in the Bradford City squad. Whatever. Oh, actually, he's in the pictures celebrating against Chelsea now. I totally forgot he even existed. So Alan Sheehan, yeah, and Rory Mercado at centre half. So we had Sheehan and Rory Mercado playing at centre back. Gary Liddell, decent player, bit inconsistent. He was playing in midfield alongside Billy Knott. Jason Kennedy, he made that squad. He didn't play much that season, but a half-decent player. Aaron McLean, he was on there. Got another one with a bit of an issue. He was crap for us, wasn't he, Mike?
Yeah, awful. And
then James Hansen, the legendary James Hansen. I'd have him back at Bradford City in a blooming shot. In fact, I got pick him up from Grimsby. And Billy Clark, he's also at Grimsby. So we've got Grimsby's front two playing for us against Leeds United there.
Did you ever used to watch Dream Team when you were a kid?
Yeah,
that Bradford team sounds like kind of footballers made up names that kind of made it sound like real footballers, but don't sound quite right. It's like just making up names here. Yeah, Billy Knott,
chairman.
Who's that guy who played for Dream Team? Was it Bruno Ribeiro or something? That someone tried to sniper him during FA Cup final.
No, Bruno Ribeiro played for Bristol City, didn't he?
Bruno Ribeiro.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, it was in Dream Team. Someone nearly got sniped. It's not important what his name was. Subs that came off the bench, Matty Dolan, another one who disappointed for Bradford, really, and Ollie McBurney, who now is playing for Sheffield United in the Premier League. Ads, do you want to take us through the Leeds team?
So, in goal, a real flashback, Stuart Taylor, the former keeper for pretty much every team in England. Funnily enough, actually, I did a quick Wikipedia of Stuart Taylor, and I know Wikipedia is not the source of all truth, but in a 21-year career, how many appearances do you think he made?
Starts or appearances?
Appearances.
21 years. 96.
21, average of one a season.
5.
You're in the ballpark. It was 75 appearances in a 21-year career, just over 3 per season, which not a bad career if you can get it. But fair play to him. He managed to get in the team on this occasion, which he was in front of a back four of Scott Wootton, Jason Pearce, Liam Cooper, and Stephen Warnock. This was the time when Liam Cooper probably wasn't the Marcelo Bielsa Liam Cooper. Midfield four that stinks of pace. It's Michael Tong, David
You say
Morris.
stinks of piss?
they might stink of piss, but I said stink of pace.
Okay.
Tong, Norris, Luke Murphy, and Tommaso Bianchi. And the two leading the line, it's Billy Sharp and Matt Smith, which on paper doesn't sound like a bad strike force. Probably both didn't have the best spells at Leeds. And Billy Sharp especially just didn't quite work out for him, and real shame because obviously he's a top player at this level. Matt Smith, real handful, but this was also a couple of weeks before the infamous "don't go to bed just yet" when we did sell Matt Smith on deadline day. So one of his last appearances for Leeds.
I guess who came on for Leeds? I
was just going to say that, Mike.
Don Polion.
Yeah, and Don Polion, he was also in the "don't go to bed just yet" crew. He left on deadline day as well. But yeah, Riley, a couple of your favourite players in there. Tong, Sharp. What? Anyone stick out for you?
I'm just wondering if Mike can pronounce the Bianchi for the Leeds. Obviously, now he's fluent in Italian. Whether he can just give us and the sub Antonucci. How am I pronouncing that, Mike?
Antonucci.
Ah, there we go. Lovely. Feel like I know him now.
Adam, can you just keep your laptop still, mate? We can hear it rubbing on your boxes.
Yeah, I'm not in my boxers, but I am in my shorts. So yeah, sorry guys. I'll put it on.
All right, mate. Touchy.
When we said keep it brief, that's not what we meant, mate. Come on.
So let's get into the game, shall we? It was pretty boring for about half an hour. Not much happened apart from Leeds fans absolutely making a mess of Valley Parade. But then on 30 minutes, I believe one of your favourite players, Adam, he got himself a little yellow card, didn't he?
Overrun by Murphy, who then caught Little on the follow-through. He's late, he's very late actually, Luke Murphy. He's not going to win this ball, but it's his poor first touch that tempts him forward. It's a really poor challenge. We've seen Reds for that before.
Absolutely filthy challenge. I mean, how did he not get sent off for that?
Yeah, that's a straight red. Football this day and age, that's a straight red. Should have gone. Absolutely disgusting challenge. I think the ref goes with yellow with it being a bit of a rival, bit of a derby game. But yeah, no way should he have been still on the pitch after that.
Yeah, it's one of them when the ref, as a fan of Leeds, when the ref pulls out the yellow, you breathe a bit of sigh of relief. But Murphy, he didn't make his way along, did he?
McLean. Short for Meredith. He got there, but it was Murphy, and he's already been booked. It's a second yellow. Leeds, who had 2 players sent off at the weekend, have another player seeing red here. You've been yellow carded. You're fortunate to be on the field at this stage, and then you make a challenge like this. It's just crazy.
Oh, you did it get?
That was filth. You see, most normal players would think, "Oh, I better be careful now."
What's going through his head there to like dive in like that when he did on a yellow? Like, who even is he? Like, he's not even like. Is he even leads through and through to dive in like that? Like, what? Who is he had?
Well, Luke Murphy was our big summer signing when we got Brian McDermott as manager. He cost over £1 million from Crewe, and at that time, Crewe were developing all these really exciting young players like Nick Powell and people like that, and we were thinking, we've got an absolute baller. He's just going to sit back, play passes, score goals, but it just never panned out for him. And yeah, I think this game was the one which really ended his time at Leeds, to be honest.
Ended Hockaday's time as well, which was a shame.
Well, as we'll come on to, that was definitely the good part about this night, the end of Dave Hockaday.
He's had to go back to teaching PE now, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's teaching PE. He spent a bit of time at Swindon, not Swindon Town. Swindon Supermare was his club after Leeds. But yeah, he's I mean, the end of Dave Ockaday was definitely a good thing here.
So after that sending off, things were it was still kind of a stalemate. It was pretty close. Bradford had chances, Leeds had chances. Bradford probably looked like the better side actually, because when the Leeds goal came on the 82nd minute, it was a real sucker punch to Bradford, who thought they were going to take the lead.
Tall slides through to Norris and Smith. Leeds show the strength and character needed, despite being a man down for much of the match.
This is quite brilliant football. There's a wonderful ball into the far post. This is what Matt Smith is crying out for. This is what Matt Smith is built for.
There he is, Smudger. Go on, lad. I'm taking back, he's not bad. Better than Bamford.
He's awful. He's awful. He really is. Wait till you see his miss later on. But from a Bradford point of view there, I hate criticising Derby because he's an absolute unbelievable right back for us, but terrible marking. Absolutely terrible. Just gets nowhere near him, and then he makes an absolute bit of a joke of an effort. And you're thinking at that point, 10 men, we're 1-0 down with 8 minutes to go. You just can't see us sort of pulling this back. So
that's what separates the divisions, though, isn't it? That's kind of the being able to stay switched on for the full 80 minutes. Like Bradford, those players are going to have been knackered in the 82nd minute, and that's when mistakes happen, and that's exactly what happened. Derby switched off for a bit, gave Norris the opportunity to put a decent ball in, and then Matt Smith, fair play, it's a decent header, and it was a massive sucker punch to Bradford fans. I remember I was podcasting, as you'll hear later, I was podcasting at the game, and it was a proper sucker punch because Bradford were on top at this point. So we thought there's every chance here. If we can nick a goal, we'll win this. Yeah. And then when Leeds scored, you kind of thought that's our luck. And the Leeds fans went absolutely mad. It was absolutely heartbreaking.
Yeah, I think Matt Smith was one of those which he was probably just at Leeds at a bad time. He was a good player, and I do think he scored a hat-trick the other week, didn't he, for Millwall against Nottingham Forest, and it was one of those when he left, it was a bit of a shame, and there's no doubt he's definitely a weapon to bring on at some stage in a match if you're struggling. I'm not quite sure he's a Bielsa type player, but I think he's definitely got something to offer. And at this point, you are thinking, even though Hockaday is a bad manager and that Leeds players aren't playing for him, we had 2 men sent off the previous weekend against Watford, another man sent off here. You are just thinking, is this the start? Is this the start of something that could quite click? But yeah, it's about to go wrong.
Yeah, as it turned out, it wasn't. It only took 2 minutes for Bradford to go and equalise, and it was an absolute belter from Billy Knott.
And from the corner, McCardle looks to get up. It's come all the way out to Billy Knott! It's a storming finish, and Bradford City produced the right kind of response. Look at the first touch. Kills it stone dead, so then he knows he just has to cleanly strike through it. And doesn't he just do that?
No! What a screamer! Pick that out with your mates! Absolute top bins!
I absolutely lost my mind when he scored that goal. Not only was it an equaliser that we felt we deserved, but it was an absolute banger of a shot. And from a lad who really kind of like bonded with a fan. So it was, what a moment. What a moment.
I think I feel my jambon up in air at this point.
John, as a neutral, what do you think to that strike?
Yeah, it's a decent goal, isn't it? It's like, come out. To be honest, I've watched it a couple of times. I can't think the keeper should do better. I know it's harsh. But it's not like a rocket into the top corner. It's kind of a nice shot from half volley into the top corner. It's a good goal. If I was a Bradford fan, I'd have been absolutely mental. Probably been about 14 rows in front after that. Good goal.
Well, unfortunately, in the Midland Road stand where the Leeds fans were, there were no rows left because as soon as that goal went in, they started smashing the joint up.
But at this point, there was absolutely no doubt in my mind that there was going to be one winner in this match. I'd have put everything. Well, I would say everything I earned, but I wouldn't have done that because I gamble responsibly. But it was absolutely clear that Bradford were going to go on and win this game, either in normal time or extra time.
There's no beating Bradford at Balacrade when the atmosphere is like that, which is very rare.
Here's Clark. Little. And Hansen! Would you believe it? It's not the best header that James Hansen has ever put goalwards, right through the keeper's legs, but quite astonishing turnaround.
Hansen! Yeah! Absolute bully Teddy there. Used to work in a co-op, and now he just put us 2-1 ahead against the scum. And what a goal it is. What a ball in the box. Absolute peach. And there he is. Hansen meets it through Taylor's legs. Take a boo, Hansen's son. And there we go.
I mean, talk about underrated players for Bradford. I mean, that guy still gets some stick from some fans. But he was
He's a legend.
He was already a cup hero going into this after we'd beaten Aston Villa, Arsenal, and stuff like that in the League Cup a couple of seasons before. But then to score the winner in the 86th minute against Leeds United is just unbelievable.
Absolutely unbelievable. And like you said there, Dom, people still get on Hansen's back, which is unbelievable. In the day, he's a legend for the club. What he did for the club, his goals that he scored, and all the goals he was involved in as well, which you don't get credit for.
Sorry, I was just distracted by the fact that John was Googling famous Hansen. He's still sharing his screen.
Yeah, I'm speechless myself, mate. I find it weird. If only Leeds could have defended better, Hansen wouldn't have been able to unbop it into net, would he? So
I was left speechless. That's another Hansen song. It was well weird. That's another Hansen song. Save me. That's what Leeds fans are saying.
What were you feeling at that point? Last minute goal.
Truthfully, it was a genuine mix of emotions because there is the obvious embarrassment. You've lost to a lower league team. You've lost to your local rivals. You've lost in, typical Leeds circumstances. We take the lead in the 82nd minute and you think, right, we go on and win this, and then we manage to lose in normal time. But
you weren't the better side, were you? You weren't the better side. Bradford were better all game.
No, you're not the better. We're not the better side, but you do think we've gone 1-0 up. We could get a result here. Every time your team gets a result, I don't care who's in charge. It's a positive thing. But then when you go 2-1 down, at least at that point that this is the last time David Ockaday is going to manage your club. And thankfully it was. Neil Redfern came in after that, and I do believe if Ockaday had stayed for a bit longer, we'd have gone down that season. So even at the time, I was pleased. I was pleased that a part of me was pleased. I just thought, get out of the cup, get Ockaday out, start again in the league, go again.
And you're not beaten us since, have you, lads?
What's that?
And they haven't beaten us since.
We haven't played you since.
Don't matter, you haven't beaten us since. Last time we played, we beat you.
Well, we'll be playing Premier League, and you'll be playing League 2, so it might get you in third round at FA Cup if you get there.
Not when it's nil and void, lad.
As an away fan, though, when you go 1-0 up and quite late on, and you're giving it the big one to the home fans, there's nothing worse than when the home fans, the home team, and equalise and then go 2-1 up. Literally, you've been giving it the big licks, haven't you? You're giving it stood on your chair, you're going mad. You think you've won it, or you think you're at least you've gone ahead, and then you don't.
Would you bite back then as an away fan? Would you bite back at the fans who are then giving you it back after you've given him it all game, or would you just stay straight forward, not look at him? Because I'm one of those, me. I can't face the look, and I'll just look at the pitch, shaking my head. Yeah,
I've lost my head a few times. Man City away one year was a bad one. Lost my head a couple of times. But now I'm a responsible dad, and I go to the game just purely to enjoy it. I would pretty much ignore them. To be fair, now I kind of think, I don't want to say I don't feel good for the fans, but I actually think fair play to them if they're going to celebrate their team. These things don't happen that often, do they? So why not? Nah, a little less angry now. So I know if this happened to me, if Wednesday had gone 1-0 up at I don't know, Bramall Lane or at Oakwell or Ellen Road, and then we come back and we lost 2-1, I'd be absolutely spitting feathers.
Well, talk about losing your head. I used to do a Bradford City podcast, and we podcasted this game live from the game, and this is how it panned out for us.
This is Leeds United's
biggest game.
It is.
This is the biggest game in Leeds United history.
It's their cup final. This is their chance to regain some sort of credit and recognition as an actual football club rather than a joke.
No! No way! That is the wind out of your sails right there.
What am I just saying?
That is awful. And it's a Bradford City corner. The Leeds fans, look at the state of them. They stink.
Hit it! Fucking Billy Nutt! Fucking Billy Nutt! Billy Nutt!
It's Bradford City 1! Leeds 1!
What a goal by Billy Nutt! I will have your children if I could.
Oh my God! It's Bradford City 2! Leeds United 1! And that's what happens when you knock a bantam down! They get straight back up and claw the fuck out of here!
So, Dom, where does that rank from your wedding day to having kids? It must be pretty much banging between, mustn't it?
Well, you're forgetting, mate. We've had bigger games than that. We've beaten Chelsea. We beat Aston Villa, Arsenal, Wigan. You know, all these big games, big cup games. We won the FA Cup in 1911. That's up there. But no, it's pretty big. You can hear it in that clip we just played. I was pretty excited about it. I was absolutely like blood pressure. I thought my brain was going to burst out my head. But yeah, it's definitely up there. I know that it sounds ridiculous when you're talking about football and comparing it to other life events like having kids, but when you're a footy fan and Leeds have been the dominant team throughout your life, including I went to a school full of Leeds fans, all of them taking the piss out of me for supporting shitty City. Football is the only type of thing that brings these emotions out that gives you that sort of satisfaction. It was just it was unbelievable, and I'm sure Mike will agree that to get one over on Leeds United is a pretty big deal for us. I know that fans don't want to admit it because they think Leeds fans will knock them down a peg or two, but it's true. You beat Leeds United, your local rival, and there's just no feeling like it, really.
No, exactly. And like Dom said there, like any day, I understand Leeds aren't that bothered about us. We don't play each other that often. I think it would be a much bigger rivalry if we did play a lot more often. We're probably closer to Huddersfield these days, but to get one over so-called big Leeds United, Leeds think they're bigger than what they are, but to knock them down a peg or two, what a feeling, unbelievable. And end of the day, they can sit there and say, oh, our manager was crap, the team were crap, they're not bothered about the cup competition. End of the day, Bradford beat Leeds, simple as that, and that's something that we'll always remember, and it'll go down.
But to do it like that as well, to have played well against them, to have gone 1-0 down and then to have got it back really late in the game, there's no better way to win it than that. And then for James Hanson to score the winner as well, absolute perfection, football perfection for me, that.
Yeah, fair play to you. You got your win, and it's great to see Bradford go from strength to strength since then, really.
On that note then, everybody, thanks for listening to this Yorkshire football podcast. If you have your own big Yorkshire derby that you'd like to hear discussed on this show, then don't forget to get in touch with us on social media. We're on Instagram and Twitter.
Riley, what's the ones we need to do for you, Riley, next time as a Wednesday fan?
It's got to be a Steel City derby, hasn't it?
Yeah, it depends. I'm a bit different era, so mine would be a bit older. But in recent years, saying Wednesday 6 Leeds 0, maybe.
Good one.
We had a really bad record against Bradford in recent years. Last couple of times, I think double over his last time we played you in the same season.
When was that? Premier League? Can't remember.
Oh no, 2004-5.
Is that Division 1 Championship?
League 1.
League
I think
One.
Owen Morrison might have scored at Hillsborough in front of the Cop, 2-1 to Bradford.
Oh, right, yeah.
I didn't know if it was like Johnson's Paint Trophy, something like that. We played during that.
No, that was Huddersfield. Owen Morrison scored.
That was a joke. That was when Gary Megson subbed the keeper off after a minute.
Oh, Nicky Weaver, it came off.
And we lost on penalty. You had that weird keeper in net who saved all his pens.
Yeah, Oscar Janssen.
Yeah, right, weirdo.
He played against Leeds in Johnson's Paint Trophy that season as well, didn't he? And he saved loads of penalties against them. Is that right?
Yeah. No, Leeds wouldn't be in Johnson's Paint that year.
Can't remember.
Maybe it was Sunderland. Sunderland in Cup. Sunderland won at Cups. I seem to remember. He did.
Oh, who knows? Google it. Let's end this podcast.
Yeah.
No one wants to hear our crappy discussions. If you've got your own suggestion, then get in touch with us. Send it to us on social media. You can find us. Just search Yorkshire Football Podcast and we'll pop up on there somewhere. Subscribe if you haven't already. And make sure you follow government advice during this lockdown period. Stay home and stay safe. Big thanks to John Riley representing Sheffield Wednesday, Mike Kalinsky representing Bradford City, and Adam Etherington representing Leeds United. It's goodbye from all of us, and we'll hopefully see you next week, Bob.